Marquise Trent, what an inspirational man. He's a podcaster. He's an author. His mantra, his mission, is bring a message to millennials and their minors in an effort to create the perfect citizen. He's got great content where he talks about changing behavior and helping others. He's out of Richmond, Virginia. He was in the military for 9 years. The mantra, or I should say, the kind of disciplines of the Army: loyalty, duty, respect, self-service, honor, integrity, personal courage. He uses when he speaks. He's got great content. He's written 4 books. Just incredibly disciplined. While he doesn't consider himself that disciplined, you'll learn more about that. I certainly consider him very disciplined and very interesting on what motivates him and how he measures success. Just a great conversation with Marquise Trent. I know you're going to like it. I really, really enjoyed talking to this man. Thanks for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic, I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business? And it lasted over 25 years. Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission: how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family, in their passion, in their careers, and how it helped them. Our podcast vision: growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration. And you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, correct?
Correct, capital.
Very nice. Very. So, Marquise, thank you for your time. I really, really appreciate you doing this. What is mutual disrespect?
Woo, that's a good one. That's a good one. Mutual disrespect. What I believe, I'm gonna speak from Black culture.
Please.
So a lot of times I've experienced in my own household, I'm married with children, but even past relationships and things of that nature, it's like neither party really respects each other. It's
Hmm.
like we're taught, so to speak, to be disrespectful. I don't really cuss. I'm a man of faith, but generally the men or the young males, even adult males, which we'll talk about that later. It's like we're taught to call them bitchs and things of that nature. Call them hoes. Like that's the language. Like you might have no knowledge of her sexual past, which where we get whore, which we then turn whore into hoe.
Hmm.
So generally, a whore or hoe or thought was an individual or female that had a promiscuous past or lifestyle. It's like that got done away with, and it just became the noun for females.
Wow.
And the same goes for the guys. It was always this disrespect. So I believe with both parties mutually disrespecting each other, it's going to keep a culture of negativity and chaos in the household.
And how do we change that?
Honor one another, just as a human first, honoring each other, love. One of the biggest things which helped me in my life, but in the streets hurt me, so to speak, and that's the golden rule.
Hmm.
My story is I was raised good, but the streets bad, so I came up with a traditional church Christian background, but it was the Baptist, not to knock nobody that was Baptist. So I can only speak from my experience. We didn't really like live a holy lifestyle. It was kind of like what we did. So it was party on Saturday, church on Sunday type of deal. So it was
Hmm.
kind of easier to do those things. So understanding what the golden rule is: do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. If we all just practice that more, life would be so much different because you're not trying to uh, take. You don't want anybody to cheat on you don't want anybody to have sex with your girlfriend,
Mm,
like which is so heavily promoted in music. But you'll go have sex with somebody else's girlfriend and then rap about it and then make videos about it. So I believe if we just truly honor each other as humans first and then just give that level of respect. For instance, in a relationship, for a female to want to submit, in my belief, old school, for a woman to want to submit to a man, she has to see some level of value in his values, his morals, his leadership, his sex, his money, things he brings to the table. So, in my mind, if you see enough value in this person, one, to open your legs to him, truthfully,
mm,
but two, to actually bond with him and develop a partnership, then why would you disrespect him? Why would you demean him?
right.
Why would you tear down his internal foundation if he's supposed to be the one that's leading you, and vice versa?
And does that happen? I mean, there's general kind of fatigue that happens in marriages over time. You things happen, you have kids, things get in the way. But are you saying this happens very early in the relationship?
Well, it depends on the culture and it depends
Mm,
on the people. I know I've experienced mutual disrespect. Uh, I know sometimes TV can paint this fairy tale lifestyle. I know nobody has an absolutely perfect life, but many times from the urban demographic, you may see this more buttery relationship with some of the upper middle class, and high class whites. Like, oh, their life is so perfect. They have such good relationships and things of that nature. But you go across the railroad tracks or go into a house over here, and it's she nagging him or she cussing him out and he talking, so it develops that. But one, I believe it's important to have mentors or
mm,
positive people in your life to some capacity because they can coach you through a situation or encourage you. Like my wife and I, we've been together for 9 years, and many people admire our marriage. Well, it
mm,
was hell for the first 4 years. We fought for our marriage. We came from uh, similar but different backgrounds, and we had to fight to 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 rebuild. She came in with a lot of mental baggage and pain. I came in with a lot of mental baggage and pain, but we came in on the grounds of our faith, and from there we're able to establish something, to build a new foundation and to establish a new legacy in general, which is truly what marriage is about. If you go back and look at ancient times or past times, it was about the furthering of the race or the family name or building something, not just, hey, you look good, I look good, let's just have sex and bond to one another. No,
mm,
what can we create
mm.
as a family? All the biggest brands that we all know, love, and trust, I don't think most people realize these are family names. Heinz, Harley Davidson, Hennessy,
Tyson.
uh, Kraft,
Mm.
DuPont, So that's what I believe, man.
Very interesting. You mentioned music, and can art or music at all, can it change behaviors of people? Do you believe?
Absolutely. Many people argue that and they fight it tooth and nail. I just believe they fight it tooth and nail because one, they don't want to feel they're powerless, and two, it establishes a new level of responsibility for the artist, the industry, and the listener. You know, and most people just say, "Nah, it got to be something else." You always hear the argument, especially from the rap artists, and I'm a rap artist. I haven't rapped in many years, so I will be getting back in the studio. But I make inspirational rap now. They'll say, "Oh, well, you need to you need to deal with that in your household." Okay, that's easy to say and it
Mm,
sound good, but you forget children spend 8 hours outside of the house or 10 at school. So even if I put adult controls and all of this on my children's phone, no porn, no this, no that, no this, boom. Soon as they go to school, they can hook up with their friends and whoever, and they got porn, they got gangster rap music, they got weed, they got. So to me and my wife and my children, we believe, as the scriptures say, train up a child in the way that they should go when they're old, they will not depart. So it's really building that internal foundation and giving them the blueprints of life. Like I pour so much into my children because I done been through so much stuff. So I give them the blueprint. Hey, all this rap sound good, but let me tell you what it's really like to be shot at. All that mess sound good, but let me tell you what it's like to be sitting in an interrogation room for, extremely serious crime. Yeah, they sound tough and they riding with you, but your boy just snitched on you because the neighbor caught him doing something.
Mm.
All of these are real situations, from my own life that I'm saying that I've experienced that I share with them so they can understand the impact and who they desire to be and show themselves to the world.
Very well said. So it does seem very convenient for some of the artists to say, well, this, I'm just telling a story. I'm not, instructing people on how to live their life. And, it's kind of like fiction writing. But you believe that, so I don't want to put words in your mouth, but somebody who is not violent, can they listen to a lot of music and become violent? Do you feel?
I believe that it can, over time, I believe that it can develop the potential for that.
Hmm.
So I remember times past when I was clubbing and partying and all that. One, you got mob mentality, which is in and of itself a psychological phenomenon, bad self. You know what I'm saying? So
Certainly.
it's so many factors, and when I talk, I like to give foundations and angles so people can look at it from multiple ways. So to answer that, one, uh, you got the mob mentality from a party club situation. No, you may not be violent. One, you could be a person that defends themselves. You
Hmm.
might be a person that don't even defend themselves, or you might be a person that's just loose, temporal, and you just go off at the flip of a switch. It all
Right.
depends. But with the music, a little alcohol in your system, and your people's around,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? The right song, the right push, the right shove, the right look, boom, you in it. So, you know, it all depends on the person. It all depends on the situation. It all depends on the environment. That would kind of be my answer.
It's interesting because art, the music is only one part of those factors. The rest is, alcohol and, what's happening around. Is there jealousy? There's all these kinds of factors as well. So you feel perhaps it's not the overall factor, but it is a factor in kind of this dangerous, stew of violence or misogyny or whatever
Watch
negativity may
this.
be.
I'll prove it.
Okay.
I'll prove it. Watch this. I was
Yes, sir.
thinking about this the other day from being in this world because the main book I'm pushing is Overstanding, but Overstanding was birthed from Weapons of Mass Destruction. That was a 500-page nonfiction, talked about all type of stuff. So the more I began to research, I was like, man, this is crazy. But think about this. How lame would a movie or TV show be if they took out the music?
Right.
Just the sounds. Like when the person creeping around with the rifle, or when it's the intensity of the sounds. Jaws. Dun, 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 dun. If that never happened and it was just playing, everybody would be like, "Oh, bro, the shark just jumped out the water."
Right.
But it's that sound. You know what I'm saying? Because we're spiritual beings. People
Right.
can believe whatever they want to believe. Whatever. But we're spirit, soul, and body. And music is a spiritual phenomenon,
Mm.
whether people want to talk about it or not, which I believe music is spiritual, which can also be measured scientifically, like
Mm.
as sound, because it is sound waves and stuff. But there's a spiritual element to music that I believe we can all agree to, especially since that Astro World Travis Scott
Yes.
situation. You got
Terrible.
all these
Terrible.
potentially, so I go in and out the spiritual realm, but no matter what their beliefs are, you got young, teen, and early adult people saying, bro, I felt like I was in hell.
Mm.
Now, hell generally is a religious term. They said Travis looked demonic. Generally speaking, that's a Christian, Judeo-Christian type of terminology. But they
Mm.
was like, I kept hearing this funny sound coming from then the music. Like if you just watched it, soon as the music came on, I started moving. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because that certain move and that groove just makes your body move. So you had a little bit of drink, maybe, maybe not, and then specific songs come on, crunk music, Lil Jon, 3 6 Mafia, all them crime up, all that from back in. Soon as it come on, it grabs you, and
Mm.
you gone, man. You go.
Yeah, very, very well said. Very interesting point. I love that take on it too. Now, Marquise, with your planned
Yeah.
maturity, you have an incredible mission and burden. Bring a message to millennials and their minors in an effort to create the perfect citizen. I mean, that is a daunting mission. You have got great
Yeah.
content where you talk about different areas. What brought you to that mission? It's incredible and inspiring.
I truly believe it was God sent, man. Really, certain stuff when you see how heavy it is, you're like, "Ooh, why would you even try to lift
Mm,
that?"
mm,
But when I look at, I believe in destiny. Look at Martin Luther King, look at Sojourner Truth, look at all these people and white people. I'm not a racist, but specifically for people of color, we've seen our interesting position in America subjugated for so long, things of that nature. Even though we've gained we've gained freedom, so to speak, we still see the that underlying, situation for people of color, blacks and browns, but specifically blacks. So to me, it's a message of maturity to millennials and minors in an effort to create a perfect citizen. And then as people engage with me more, that's for any millennial and any minor,
mm,
but I do cater to people of color. And the reason that is because when I think of the perfect citizen, it just means mature. That's
mm,
all it means. That's why earlier I said adult males, because there's plenty of adult males, but it's not a whole lot of men. I
mm,
believe men is a situation of being a man is more than your age, but truly your character, your creed, and who it is that you've become. Taking responsibility. Anybody can go have sex with a bunch of females and get them pregnant, but if you don't take care of none of your children, in my personal opinion, you're not a man. You're an
mm,
adult male. You know what I'm saying? Look at the guys that go get arrested and do time in prison. It's almost like a known fact when they come home. For those that do, they're like trying to relive everything they left. Because even from a psychological term, I'm recording right now, even from a psychological term, we've seen that trauma causes a level of retardation,
mm.
where a person is stunted at that time, which is a whole nother conversation. But generally speaking,
Wow.
that's my mission for Plan Maturity, to answer that. I believe it was God sent to develop a new mindset culturally, because we can see music, media, and entertainment shapes people. Look at TikTok, look at Instagram, look at everything that has happened. I'm an 80s baby. I've seen the change. People are really moving into this personal development wealth movement. So if that's a thing, then why not ride that wave, but kind of focus more on the moral aspect? That's all it truly becomes, the moral aspect.
Wow, that's quite a mouthful, Marquise. And I mean,
No, I tend to do that sometimes. Just
no, I
catch me.
love it. I love it. Yeah, I love it. And what can we do? What can we do as a society to help people like you to that have such great missions like this and have such, lofty goals? How can we help? How can we assist?
Just support, man. Truly, like being on this podcast, like so as an author and as a authorship coach, because
Hmm.
I help people write books that want to write books. I understand the importance of other people's platforms. Like truly, when I'm finished, I got my camera here, I got my lights, I got my mic. I might just turn it back on and record my own podcast
Good for you.
episode before the close of the year, because I have a podcast too.
Hmm.
Now when I'm riding around, largely I'm learning, I'm listening to something. I don't really listen to a lot of music anymore. But opening the door for us to get on platforms, sharing our stuff, and just really being supportive. Because, excuse me, although we have families to feed, and I believe we all like a level of luxury to experience, even if that's not your everyday lifestyle, things of that nature. Uh, I've really been doing this for the people. I've
Hmm.
really poured out. A guy just asked me the other day, how long you been doing coaching? For as long as I can remember, really. But how long have I been charging and really turning it into a business? The last 12 months, the last 18 months. Because I have a servant's heart. I did 9 years in the military, 2 tours, you put your life on the line. I've done stuff at the hospital. I've done, all types of things to, uh, all types of things to, what would I say, serve. But when it comes down to wanting to impact people greater, this seems to be the opportunity, man. Utilizing social media and things of that nature.
You're back.
I'm back. That was my only thing, man. I want. That's why I try to use the other computer, but it's cool.
You left off where somebody asked you how long you've been coaching.
Yeah. So a guy just asked me recently how long had I been coaching, and I was like, in my mind, I'm like, for many years. People have come to me for advice and this and that and this and that, but over the last 12 months to 18, turning it into a business because you know I've always desired to help people.
Right. In your monologues, your great content, you mentioned the term quite often. And how important are the terms kings and queens?
Kings and queens are important because it comes down to identity. Like we live from the place of our identity as people, which our identity is shaped when we're children and the things that we continuously hear back and forth, negative or positive. So when a person is constantly told that they're less than, they're this, they're that, then as hard as they might try with certain things, they living from that place because this is what they were told that they were, you know. But when a person is considered a king or a queen, just like, okay, so when we're children, we learn language by uh, point and say, so to speak. This is a phone, this is a cup, this is a this. And this is also why it truly is important for us to really be mindful of what they say. Like, I didn't grow up this way, so I've been learning more, teaching my children, my wife, and everybody else. Like, we got to really be more adamant about the words that we say and the things that we say because it's important. For instance, when you see a dog, and this is one of those difficult ones for me as a black person, but it's like we say, "What's up, dog?" But my dog is outside. My dog is, licking itself and all. So that's one of the recent ones that I've been dealing with. Like, but generally speaking, when we see King, for instance, look at the movie Black Panther. Black people love that movie because it showed us in a greater position than what we've generally been in. You know what I'm saying? We're not the gangster in the movie. We're not the prostitute. We're not the nappy head mama with all the children and all of these different film. And of course, that's not all the films, for those that'll be, oh, well, But they show, T'Challa, I mean, flying in a freaking UFO, for goodness sakes. You know what I'm saying? He had wealth, he had riches. So that's why that movie was so well, that's why it made so much money because people were like, wow, look at us. You know what I'm saying? Look at us. That's how I want to be. But when you leave the movie theater, it's like, oh, now I'm just a whatever. So when you call a person a king or a queen, it's a subconscious plant to cause power, to empower them. First, rule yourself, then rule your house, then rule your neighborhood. And if we all have a level of royal mindset, even if it's Prince, then collectively, I believe we'll begin to treat each other differently. Because you now see value in the next person. They're not an op. An op is an opposition. It's an opponent. It's a person that's looking to cause you harm. Y'all could be cousins, for goodness sakes. But if your mind is blinded by the hatred of they on the other side, they from the other side, they black, they white, they this, they that, we always divided. We always, you're a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Like all of, and I'm not going off track. This is the reality of that. Households are being split by the Trump conversations. Households are being split by the COVID conversation. All of these things come to these labels and these identities that we take on instead of saying, wait a minute, who am I for real? What do I really believe? Because just because I'm black, I don't go with Democrat just because I'm black, but I
Hmm.
was raised to be a Democrat just because I'm black.
Hmm.
So you lose even your own mental fortitude. You lose your own identity
Hmm.
to something that your race attached to you. Well, first of all, I'm a young king who can do this and do that, and I can choose to be who I want to be. So that's where that comes from, man.
Wow. Yeah, and you get imposed this as you're young, and you kind of bring it into your adulthood. You served 9 years in the army. Thank you for your service. And you talk about the kind of the seven disciplines: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. And you go into great detail when you're talking about this mission. You really like those disciplines, those factors, and you try to live them, don't you?
Yeah, man. I joined the military at 17. Initially, I wanted to. So, although I was blessed with a level of intellect, my grades weren't right. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
High school to get scholarship. I ain't gonna say we was dirt poor, but I lived the struggle. You know what I'm saying? I had some nice things. My grandma bought a lot of my stuff. My mom had three of us, so it was real. Single mom for many years. So my grandma, she had a good paying job at this warehouse, so she kept us in some nice things and all that. So I joined the military at 17. My uncle was my recruiter. Check that out. And
Hmm.
he was like, "You want to travel? Yes, because I love traveling. You want to make some money? Yes. You want to go to school? I said I want to go to school because that's what everybody say. That's what you taught. Go to
Mm.
school, go to work. And the last thing, truthfully, was like, there's gonna be some girls there too. So I'm like, man, look, sign me up, man. You know what I'm saying? I can at least give it a try. Military, one of the best things I did. So that helped make me who I am today. And I learned the warrior ethos, which was, like you said, loyalty, duty, respect, self-service, honor, integrity, personal courage, things of that nature. So, yep,
And those can be brought onto your training as well. You go into loyalty. I mean, what we've been talking about, many of those are reflected in loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor specifically, right? When we talk about kings and queens.
absolutely. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. If a person is taught these things, and if it becomes, man, it's kind of interesting because you see some of these traits in the streets and certain cultures, but it's like it's so skewed, it's so
Mm.
twisted. You know what I'm saying? Like for gang members, I'm not a gang member. That just won't my thing. I got people that's gang members and all that, but it's like where you loyal to the flag,
Right.
red, blue, black, so forth, so on. But then, it's some other faculties and things that come in that kind of change it up. Where it's about respect, but then there's some other things that come up that kind of muddy the water. So, when I seen a lot of these things, I'm like, ah. But I think if you made it like kind of neutral, like let's just be loyal. Let's just show it's your duty to do these things. Let's just be respectful to everybody in general. I don't care how bad you want to have sex with the girl. You ain't got to verbally publicize that because you'd have had a few drinks.
Mm.
Dad, girl, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Black or white, whoever that goes to. Show the lady some respect. Now, I can admit, if half her tail hanging out, that kind of gives, you know, that kind of pushes the envelope in our mind. Well, why should I respect her if she ain't respecting herself? Now, that kind of goes back to what we said earlier. Well, how about the respect just off the basis that she's still a person? Now, granted, that sounds good coming from me now at 36. When
Mm.
I was 22, 3, 4, 5, I probably was like, bro, I ain't trying to hear all that.
Right.
But I listen, you know what I'm saying, enough. Now I still probably try to get with the woman. But at the end of the day, when this becomes more of a cultural norm,
Mm.
because everything is swayed as we move in culture. Like I'm the type of person I sit back and I look at cultural changes. Like I look at how the language changed. Now they're saying girl mom, boy, mom, little stuff like that.
Mm.
You can be like, what's so? Because it's becoming cultural. Yeah, I'm Marquise, he, him. People actually say that. I ain't saying that. I ain't saying stupid stuff like that back then, and I ain't get ready to say it now. I never been politically correct. And you know, to me, politically correctness a lot of times just comes down to them controlling you, which takes away
Mm.
your voice, which takes away your anonymity and your unity and your identity and everything else. So that's what I believe. To answer that again,
Do you recommend the military for youth?
I do some level. I wish it was like a maybe like a civilian type of situation, like a boot camp,
Mm.
because it helps make you something. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like hardship is good. You know, struggle is good. Pain is good. These things are all necessary to help shape your character, learning, and discipline. With your story, for instance,
Right.
you ain't get there by snapping your finger.
Mm.
You had to do the extremely difficult, painstaking work to get rid of the weight that you did. You know what I'm saying? But now you got a mindset that'll never leave you. See, that's what a lot of people don't think. But now you got a mindset that will never leave you. So when you take these young people, middle school, high school, things of that nature, and say, yeah, you're required to do, one summer out of your preteens or one summer out your regular teen. Like, I'm almost certain that it changed the culture.
Mm.
I'm almost certain it would change the culture. Yeah, you're gonna be hard headed a little bit. Yeah, you're gonna have some that's talking trash. Yeah, you're gonna that just comes with the territory. But it does something to you. Like really, we ain't really have from what I saw and what I remember. It won't really a lot of racism and foolishness, with us because it's like they made you work with the white people. They
Right.
made you work with the black people. Hey, y'all don't like each other? Great. Y'all pair it up. Y'all don't like each other? Great. Y'all pair it up. And they
Wow.
put you in a rough circumstance. And this is another thing I spoke on about, jail and people coming together, which we could
Mm.
talk about. And through the hardship,
Mm.
the barriers of race are torn down. Through that hardship, the barriers of race is torn down. Now it's, hey, bro, help me get over this wall. I help you get over the wall.
Mm.
I hold your foot, push you over the wall. You get to the top, you pull me up. Why? Because we ain't leaving if we don't.
Mm.
All right, we got a mutual goal. So let's just get this over with. And over time, as we've seen, the bond that comes through trauma and hardship, it grows strong.
Right.
So now the redneck from wherever is tight with the blood from wherever. It ain't none of that. Oh no, that's my boy, bro. He tight, man. He cool. You know what I'm saying?
I know
I'm
in
leaving
some
that shit out, man.
Yeah, I love it. I know. So European countries, they have to every male. I don't know females. They have to serve a year. I know in Israel, I think it's more than that, and they just have to serve a year with the military, and they get appreciation, like you said. And when they get to go to school later, hey, look, I knew how tough it was. This is easy. This part is easy. I'll never forget an interview with Sugar Ray Leonard, the great boxer, of course, and
Cool.
he Johnny Carson said to him, "Will your kids, be boxers?" And he said, "Well, I grew up in Detroit. I had to box my way out of there. My kids were born and raised in Beverly Hills. They will never be boxers. They will never be boxers." And it's just, it just goes to show you. It's just, once you have that hardship, the mindset of losing weight, it's not just you lose weight and that's it. It's a lifestyle change,
Yeah.
complete lifestyle change. Do you consider yourself disciplined?
I need some work, man. I need some work. I got some discipline, some things that I do, but if I'm honest, I need some work in some areas, man. I'm really working on waking up earlier. I've
Mm.
been a night owl, so they say, as for as long as I can remember. So sometimes I really still struggle with that, trying to go to sleep early and go to sleep early to get up early because
Mm.
I'm so used to. Sometimes I feel like truly, and I've heard that about some people where that's their prime time.
That's right.
10, 11, 12, 1. I feel alive and I'm in it. So I'm still working on that. I do work out multiple times a week. So I'm enjoying that. I really do. From my time in the military, also being overseas, we worked out a lot. I'm working on my diet. I got a decent body for my height and my size, but I am working on more definition and things of that nature. So, yep.
It's interesting. When I ask about discipline, you bring it right to self discipline. You don't talk about just being disciplined in other areas or you showing discipline to friends or to people who you're trying to the millennials you're trying to help. But it's an interesting take. You immediately brought it to self discipline. Very interesting.
Because that's where it starts. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? That's where it starts. And so for myself, so I've been through a lot of trauma. Some people might think life was good, but like I said, I like to always say that's relative. I was brought up, lived between two households. Uncles was in prison. Bunch of stuff. You know what I'm
mm,
saying?
mm.
Bunch of stuff. So I got my own, and then not to mention all the stuff in my teen years and beyond. And of course, being overseas and almost getting killed, a bunch of stuff like that. So all of that, it's a lot of complex trauma that I'm still going through and working through. Uh, I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but
About
ultimately, I
discipline.
understand.
Pardon.
So I've accomplished a lot.
Mm,
So I think that's what I was saying. So the perfectionist, the
mm.
polarized thinking, the black and white thinking. Then my grandma, she was very much like that. She almost 90 years old, so she kind of instilled that in me. So I have accomplished a lot. I've written 4 books, had a clothing line, coached some people, been on radio, been on Netflix. So I've accomplished a lot. So I'm learning to give myself enough to say, hey, bro, you have been disciplined enough to do more than a whole lot of people have done who wish they could do half that stuff. 9 years in the military, bachelor's degree, CDL, spoken in front of thousands, rapped in front of thousands, been interviewed many times on the news. I mean, the list goes on. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? So that does take discipline to complete those things.
certainly.
86% of the American population want to write a book. I wrote 4. You
Mm.
know, so putting yourself in a position to say, hey, acknowledge the accomplishments that you have done. Give yourself some credit instead of no, go more, go more, go more. So I guess I do have some. I guess I do have some discipline.
Yeah, and I think we all want to be more disciplined in certain areas. There's a lot of areas that I lack, a lot of areas, and there's some that I'm not. I just is I guess a matter of priority.
Yes, absolutely.
What motivates you, Marquise?
Destiny.
Hmm.
It's like when I not like really like when I really started serving God like 10 years ago. So it's like a total of what's it 2021 to 12, like 10 plus a year and a half. So it's like 11 and a half, 12 years of like seriously trying to serve God, the God of the Bible or what have you. And once I really came to the awareness, like, bro, like you really got a purpose here. Like
Hmm.
this ain't cliche stuff. Like everybody throw that around, but I'm talking about I am aware of the reason I was born.
Hmm.
That changes everything. And so no matter what hell I be going through, I just can't give up. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I just can't give up. I
Wow.
like so many people are dependent on me, and I'm not where I want to be or am going, but my drive is so strong, man.
Hmm.
Like when
Hmm.
my dad told me this about in the last year, it made my day. Like, son, I'm proud of you because you don't let nothing stop you from going for your dreams. That made my day.
Wow.
That made my day. So
Cool.
I know that I have a mission to complete and people's lives are dependent. And plus, when you do like all of the work that I've done, I've seen people get impacted. Oh, bro, your book. Oh, bro, that speech. All the time you ministered. All the time you prayed for me. All that drives us. You're important to these people. You're important in this world. And if this is what you've accomplished at this level, imagine what's before you. So I'm always under the knife. I'm always scrutinizing because I gotta do what God called me to do. I just for if not, what am I here for? Like, what am I here for?
Wow, that's fascinating. So you know your destiny and you're doing everything to fulfill it, and that's what motivates you.
Yeah, I mean, I do have my family, my wife, my children, and all that. Yeah,
Perhaps that's part of the destiny. That's part of the
it
journey.
is a part of it. I've come to learn that
Yeah.
because that's my first ministry, as they say. Family is the first ministry. Um, but yeah, man, just that's like my word for next year is just like legendary. I
Mm.
really want to be legendary, not for like the accolades and all. Ooh, all that's fine and the money is good, but think about the fact that this guy Martin Luther King literally has schools across the nation named
Right.
after him,
Right.
streets across the nation named after. Like, who do you have to be? You know what I'm saying? You got a federal holiday. Like, that means his life on earth was so impactful that was that.
He changed the world.
He changed the world straight like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I got to do what I was called to do.
Any country you go to is going to know Martin Luther King in this world. It's do you meditate or journal?
I need to do both more. I visualize more than I meditate.
Mm.
So I do visualize much more than I meditate. I just talked to the wife about that. I got my journal in my bag over here, and I was like, I need to do this more, because I might go back and check a date. It might have been from a month ago. So I need to journal more. But what I do more than anything is visualization.
Hmm. Kind of affirmations type of thing where you see
I
what you're
got some
looking at.
affirmations. This might help your listenership also. Something I had learned some time ago, but I had to finally do it, and I've really been using it, and it really works. And what I did was I just took my phone, I wrote out the affirmations in my book. I took my phone, excuse me, I put some calming music on in the background. Then I recorded myself saying the affirmations 2 to 3 times
Huh.
in the first, in the second person or something like that.
Right.
It might have been the first person. So now I can listen to those because you believe you more than anybody else.
Right.
Your voice is the most impactful, more than anybody else. So if you hear yourself saying, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough in a good cadence and a flow and a smooth tone and a relaxed state, and you listen to that over and over and over, it's going to affect you. So now I start doing that more in the morning when I wake up, put in my earbuds, bam, put on my music with my voice on it and listen to my own affirmations. And it changes my state in that moment too because I'm seeing myself saying and I'm embodying what I'm saying. I am enough. You know what I'm saying? I do deserve such and such. I am so happy and grateful now and so forth and so on. So, yeah.
That's a great idea because oftentimes when I journal or write, I see my own goals or affirmations written down, but it would be an added dimension if I actually hear myself say it and record it. I think that's a really really good tip. When you're writing, your books or when you're creating those great dialogues in your videos, there, what part is science versus art? How do you create your message and what's your delivery mechanism?
I'm not sure I'm following you. You said science versus art?
Yeah, so science is more structured. I'm going to do it this certain way, and I'm going to
Oh,
bring it there. Art is more from the gut, more. Artists bring they don't really have a plan. It kind of
gotcha.
something drives them.
More art than science.
Mm,
More art than science. It's like I've given myself over to so much of these dimensions of life for so I mean, I got so many experiences, man. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? That I come up with the topic and I just go for it.
mm.
I come up with the topic and I'm pulling from the experiences of something just happened, things of that nature. And I just been blessed with a way to weave words together and paint pictures. And like I said, I really have been doing it, for years.
Right.
So sometimes it comes easier. Like people say, you got to practice your speech. And I ain't saying that I don't. But if I've gotten the content down over and over and I'm meditating and I'm going over it in my mind and my mind and my mind, when it's time to go, I'm gonna perform. I'm gonna make it happen.
So when you're giving those dialogues that I watch on your YouTube, um, the plan maturity, do you have a couple of topics in your mind and then you talk on them, or how much of that is pre-planned?
Yeah, so when I do that, so like a few times, as you may have seen, I so there is a scientific point where I would try to, for content's sake, I do a series.
Mm,
So I did a series, and that's as I grow. Because one thing that I've learned, I've dealt with perfectionism so much. I was like, bro, you got to move forward. You perfect as you go forward.
hmm,
So I would say, all right, well, I know it's easier for me mentally dealing with the children, dealing with work, dealing with everything else that I need to do, and I still got to put out this content. Well, let me do a 3-week series on, you know, mindset, or let me do a 3-week series on that. Then I would just take a puzzle and break down that piece. That helps me with my content. I know what I'm gonna say, but what I'm gonna talk about. Well, we're gonna talk about cell phones today. Well, I'm gonna do a 3-week on cell phone. Week 1 gonna be Android. Week 2 gonna be Apple. Week 3 gonna be Bluetooth. Bluebird. Blackbird. Who
Blackberry.
uses those? So that would be the science to it. But then the art would be, well, I know about this Android, that Android, this Android, that Android, this Android, that
Mm,
Android.
mm.
I'll take one story about an Android and turn it into 2 minutes because I'm gonna just dissect it, and that's kind of how I've done it.
Very interesting. And how do you measure success?
I measure success as accomplishments. Are you in the same place as
Mm,
you were in whatever measurement that you may have set? You know, and then as we all do through bank account.
mm. It's important.
So like Earl Nightingale said, success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. I really love that
Mm,
because it helps liberate a lot of us. Success is the progressive realization, so progress, so moving forward, progressive, continuously moving forward, realization, so that's the manifestation of a worthy ideal. So it's something of value for you and others that's not hurting or harming people. Well, if I started working on the book, well, to me, technically, I'm a successful author.
mm.
Have I made $1 million yet? Not yet. Am I not a successful author because I haven't made $1 million? Well, not according to that. I've written a couple of ebooks and 2 paperbacks, so I've published them. I've helped people, but that's more coaching. So by that, I can liberate myself because another thing that I've learned: stop comparing yourself. That's one of the most dangerous things that we deal
Mm.
with. It puts you in that perpetual cycle of self-doubt and I'm not enough and everything else. Because, we can go on Instagram and see everybody real lifestyle only to find out a lot of people be faking.
Right.
So it puts you back in a place of, let me just be the best me that I can be and be successful according to my terms.
Very well said, Marquise. I really, really appreciate your time today. You inspire me, you motivate me, because not only did you make these changes, but you're trying to help others. I talk to so many people who have afflictions or something happened to them and they work their way out of it, but seldom do they turn it around and try to help their neighbors and society. And it's admirable, and I absolutely love it. Marquise Trent, thank you so much for your time today. How can we get in touch with you? Please tell everybody about your YouTube and your books. And so how can we all get in touch with you, please?
Oh man, I appreciate it, Joe. So definitely my website, marquisetrent.com. That's with the E, MarquiseTrent.com. I'm on all social media, Instagram and TikTok as the Marquise Trent, TheMarquise Trent. Um, yeah, man, check out the stuff. YouTube is the official Marquise Trent channel. Please subscribe. We got some real cool stuff coming for the new year that I
Great
ain't gonna
stuff.
reveal just yet. I've been holding on to it. I got a new content. Oh, y'all gonna love it, man. Y'all gonna love that. So, and we're just moving forward, man. I'm about to start another round of coaching for those that want to write books. Your book opens doors, man. Some people are waiting on your book. They really are, and like you don't have to keep sitting on it. You don't have to keep trying to figure it out. And I do have coaching sessions and discovery calls. All that's on the website. And yeah, man, check out the podcast.
Very good. I'll put all the links in the show, in the show notes. And also I've been to the Amazon site where your book is as well. You have kind of your own page there, which is really cool. Um, Marquise Trent, thank you so much for your time. Please continue what you do. And if I'm ever in the area, we'll get together, have a cup of coffee.
Oh, absolutely. Where you in Florida?
No, I'm in outside of New York, New Haven.
Okay. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I'll
yeah.
hit you up next time we come up there.
Fantastic. Marquise, thank you so much for your time. You be
Thank you,
well.
Joe. I
Bye now.
appreciate you, man. Have a great one.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Would you like to financially support the podcast? You can go to our Patreon site. Consider $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all kind of plans that we have there. There's like a one-time payment. What is this podcast episode worth to you? $25, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. You be the judge. You can go to our PayPal account to do that as well. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.